Shalom Yasharala. Before we get started, we'll give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakahak Wadash, and double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone, and teacher Ruel. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. And we're back with another video and another lesson. The title, this one is responding to an article over 10 million Cubans in the dark. All right, which I got it from End Time Headlines. I shortened it, but it says developing. It says over 10 million people left in the dark from power grid failure in Cuba. All right, and if you know, Cuba is majority. All right, is the Northern Kingdom is the Manasseh. All right, the Cubans. All right, now I'm not saying that everybody in Cuba is an Israelite. I'm saying majority of those. All right, in Cuba are from the tribe of Manasseh. All right, so these are Israelites, majority of them. Okay, but I also got another article dealing with the same thing. But we'll read a little bit of this one. It says developing over 10 million people left in the dark from power grid failure in Cuba. It says the electricity went out Friday in Cuba, affecting the entire island's population of 10 million after one of its main power plants failed, according to according to Cuba's energy ministry. Now let's look at where Cuba is real quick. Just pull a map up. All right, Cuba. Do it like this. They did that. So this is Cuba right here. All right, the entire island. All right. So let's click this actually. So yep, this right here is Cuba. All right, it said the entire island is that's crazy. You know, you got the Trinidad. All right, Cuba. All right. So you got the entire island messed up, man, without power. See? Now they're not trying to. All right, they doing all this now. We don't really need that. But you saw it. So it says going back to End Time Headlines. Salakia. It says the electricity went out Friday in Cuba, affecting the entire island's population of 10 million after one of its main power plants failed, according to Cuba's energy ministry. The government had tried to keep the lights on earlier in the day by closing schools and having most state workers stay home in an effort to conserve energy, but it wasn't enough. And by 11 a.m., the largest power plant went offline, causing a grid failure. The communist-run country's president, Miguel Diaz-Canel, wrote on X that they are giving absolute priority to solving the problem, and that there won't be any rest until the power comes back on. Cubans have been grappling with rolling blackouts for months. In some provinces outside the capital, Havana, many people have been facing power outages that last up to 12 hours at a time. Cuba's Prime Minister, Manuel Mario, on Thursday blamed the ongoing blackouts on the deteriorating infrastructure, fuel shortages, and rising demand among its people. While demand for electricity has gone up, the supply of oil has been greatly limited. Cuba's ally and main oil supplier, Venezuela, has decreased the amount of its shipments it sends to the island. Oil shipments from other countries like Russia and Mexico have also been greatly diminished. Authorities said they did not know how long it would take to reestablish power. It said this particular moment has been worrying for many Cubans. During a walk in Havana neighborhood, people expressed alarm at the situation, and one resident said it felt as if the country had reached the bottom of the barrel. Man, all right. So The entire island is affected by this thing, man. Okay, let's go to this article I got over here from AP News. Salakia. So this says Oscar leaves at least 6 dead in Cuba as massive blackout halts activities and triggers protests. It said, and this came out today, all right, October 21st, 2024. And they got pictures here, all right, of the blackout, you know. And this is just a precursor of what's to come to America, all right. Now, these people in Cuba, they're used to stuff like this. Look at them. They're playing. They playing games. All right. But people in America, they're not used to nothing like this. Rolling blackouts for 12 months. 12 hours. Throughout the day. You know, the power's out. You know. So, Cuba. Those people in Cuba, they're pretty sure they're used to stuff like that. But it says Cuba's capital remained largely paralyzed on Monday, and the rest of the island braced for the fourth night of a massive blackout that has generated a handful of small protests and a stern government warning that any unrest will be punished. Hurricane Oscar made landfall Sunday before crossing the island's eastern coast as a tropical storm Monday with winds and heavy rain, leaving at least 6 dead after a night that saw protests by several dozen people in urban neighborhoods like Santos, Suarez, and Central Havana. Some banged pots and pans in the streets, while others demonstrated from their balconies. Protesters who said they have no water blocked at least one street with garbage. And quote, the country has completely halted, said homemaker Maydi Quinan Salakia, forgive me. Quinones, 55. She cares for her mother-in-law who is in her 80s. This hurts everyone, but the elderly most of all. The Cuban government, Salakia, the Cuban government has a low tolerance for civil disobedience, and President Miguel Diaz-Canel warned on national television Sunday that, and quote, we are not going to allow any vandalism or let anyone disturb people's tranquility. The prolonged nationwide blackout followed a massive outage Thursday night, part of energy problems that led to the largest protests in Cuba in almost 30 years in July 2021. Those were followed by smaller local protests in October 2022 and March 2024. It's all a part of a deep economic crisis that has promoted the exodus of more than 500,000 Cubans to the U.S., with thousands more heading to Europe. The Cuban government and its allies blame the United States' 62-year-old trade embargo on the island for its economic problems, but White House Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre said Monday that the Cuban government's long-term mismanagement of its economy policy and resources has certainly increased the hardship of people in Cuba. Power remains relatively cheap but increasingly unavailable. The Cuban government has said that it's producing 700 megawatts when peak demand can hit 3 gigawatts. Authorities said by Monday afternoon that about 80% of Havana had intermittent power, but people were skeptical. It says, we have the fridge, and quote, we have a fridge full of food and we're scared. And small business owner Juan Estrada, 53, whose Central Havana business hasn't had consistent power since Friday morning. Energy Minister Vicente de la Oleve said in a news conference he hoped that more reliable electricity will be restored by Monday or Tuesday morning, but classes remain closed through at least Thursday. So hey man, they going through it over there. Okay, you can read the rest of it on your own, but it's a lot here. This could all be part of could be part of Esau's you know experiments, right? But it's also a precursor to what's coming to America, right? Because we know wars and rumors of war, like civil wars and protests is going to break out in the streets very 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 soon here. And we don't forget We come upon the election. What's today? The 21st. The election is Tuesday, November 5th. So that's what, 2 weeks from now. You know, and then in November 5th, on the Tuesday. That's a couple weeks from now. All right. So, and you can best believe if whoever wins, I believe if Trump don't get in, hey, be on the lookout for America to go up upside down. All right. But this is second Esdras. I'm gonna go to verse chapter 9. Second Esdras chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I told thee before, right? Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, right? And we're seeing a lot of earthquakes lately, you know, all over the world, but mainly here in America as well, really on the West Coast. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. All right, and we're seeing, the end speak. Okay, we're living in those times right now, right? But things are gonna increase more and more. Wickedness is gonna increase. Matthew 24 and verse 12, and it reads, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Now, imagine, in America, power grid goes down. People gonna go to panicking, right? I say, imagine what, 2-3 days, still no power, right? Best believe something's gonna break out. And people they're gonna start worrying. They're gonna start getting hungry, right? They can't take a shower, a nice hot shower, because people they're comfortable here, you know. They're gonna start, going protest. Then protests gonna turn into riots. Then riots gonna turn into, you know, coming up against the government, which is spoken about. Right, let's get that. Matter of fact, second Esdras 16. And is it 16? No, that's 15. Second Esdras 15 and 14. It says, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. It's gonna get to the point where they're gonna start, unaliving each other. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. They're gonna come up against, the government. All right, your mayors, your governors, the people who sit in, in high offices of the government. A man shall desire to go to a city and shall not be able, because it's going to lead to civil war. After like a week or two, people gonna be in the streets rioting, gonna loot stores. Okay, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, because Salakia. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. All right, and for great tribulation. That's what's about to come upon this world, and upon America, Babylon the Great. All right, lack of bread, a famine, and a great tribulation. Great troublous times, man. Okay. So if a blackout comes, or a grid, and talk about grid attacks and stuff like that. If that comes and that happens, these people in America, they're not gonna know what to do, right? Let's get First Timothy. What's that? Where's the second? I think it's first. Yeah, 2 Timothy 3:1. This note also that in the last days, it says perilous times shall come. I get this word all the time, perilous. What in the world? Salakia. Perilous is halepos in the Greek. And it says hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous. Okay. It says through the idea of reducing the strength, difficult, i.e. dangerous, or by implication, furious, fierce, perilous. All right, so dangerous, but troublesome times are coming. You know, and the time of Jacob's trouble is around the corner. See, let's get Isaiah 19. In verse 1, it says, the burden of Egypt, which is Egypt, we're talking about America. All right, because this is spiritual Sodom and Egypt. The spirit, it says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord, whose name is Yahweh, all right, rideth upon a swift cloud. It shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And thou wilt set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. This is going to be civil war. All right, civil war is going to play out in the streets of America. Okay, so lucky. All right, this is what we're about to see. You know, so let me get a few more. Oh yeah, let's get First Peter. Read First Peter 5:8. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. All right, you gotta be vigilant in these times that we're in. And then that word vigilant means to watch. It says metaphor, give strict attention to, be cautious. All right, active, be active in this ministry, be active. You know, doing videos, reading, studying. This goes for myself as well. You know, doing what you got to do to get closer to your how about Shem Shai, man, because you're gonna need the Lord in these latter days. You know, it says to take heed lest through remission and indolence some destructive calamity suddenly overtake one. Right, you getting caught up in this world. We getting caught up in this world. All right, the cares of this life. You know, which is this all gonna pass away, man. So we use the world, don't abuse it. Okay, just to keep awake, i.e., watch. You know, so we gotta be watchful. Watch our surroundings. Watch what's going on in the world. You know, give a strict attention to what's going on. All right, because these devils, they can they can bring anything. You know, from now, because you know, like I said, this is an election year. This is also the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble, 2024. Second Corinthians 11. 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. All right, read it again. I messed up. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We're not ignorant of Esau's, the things that he has. He can bring a black swan event, a false flag. You know, look up October surprise. You know, they could cancel the election. Anything. You know, they could bring a grid attack. Shut off the power. They have the power to do this stuff, man. So you got to be prepared in the spirit, or prepared in your mind. Okay, for you brothers and you sisters out there. It goes for myself as well, man. All right, because this could be a scenario. You know, a massive blackout. You know, power outage that comes. You know, they already got the storms and what's that called? HARP. You know, weather modifications. They got these pestilences, right? Don't forget about the mark of the beast, the RFID hit. Okay, they all got this stuff prepared, man. Which is through the spirit Yahweh Shem Shai on the left hand side. You know, so Lord Williams was out of fine. I just want to go through that rule. Bring that out through the spirit. We don't give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachaha Kwadash, and double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone, and teaching well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Lord's will you was edified. To the next video, I'm going to say, Shalom.